Good evening, ghouls and boos. For today's episode, we will be looking at the Horrorcons. Yeah, we'll be looking at the Horicons, a kind of duo pair that is kind of overlooked in the Headmasters or Titans Return mythos, as you only really remember Skullcruncher, Mindwipe, and Weirdwolf. And you only ever really think, oh yeah, there was 3 Headmasters, weren't there, in the Decepticons? No, you're wrong. You're dead wrong. There was 5 of them, same as there were 5 Autobots. Or did you happen to forget that RC was also turned into a Headmaster as well? Yeah, that Titans Return repaint's not looking so silly now, is it? So this Halloween, I decided to take a devilishly deep look into what I think are the 2 better Headmasters of the entire group, the Horicons. We'll start off with my favourite, Apeface in Beast Mode. And this Beast Mode, while a little bit ropey at the back because it is a triple changer as well, needs to have all his accoutrement for Jet Mode kind of packed onto his back, and it kind of makes him feel like he's going backpacking. But if you are just going to stare at him head on and glare into those gleamingly red, sickening eyes, then you won't really notice anything wrong with the figure in this mode. His arms do what you need them to do for an ape. His legs on the bottom are a little bit stubby, but really, if no one really cared with Optimus Primal that his legs on the back weren't really that functional, really you've got to give that kind of same leeway with Apeface. Next up on the chopping block, we've got the Godzilla grotesqueness that is Snapdragon, again in Beast Mode. And while he does give off a rather good little Godzilla vibe, he's far from anything radioactive. With the horrible little teal arm flappies and a little bit of detailing on the inside to really highlight how horrific he actually is, he's not a bad Dragon Mode. Or Dinosaur Mode, I'm not really sure, but it is some kind of scaly lizard, so let's go with that. Again, like Apeface, he's kind of got most of his robot mode and his jet mode kind of splayed out the back, so it does kind of ruin the illusion a little bit if you look at him anywhere but from the front. But that's part of his charm. The triple changes, whether they're Horicons or not, have to do 3 separate things. 2 vehicle modes and 1 robot mode. And while I was very harsh on Blitzwing, Blitzwing has been done to death. These guys haven't. This is what 20th century molding can give us in the way of a good Horicon, then I am all for it. Guns on the back, a blood red curdling smile grin, and little feedy arms that kind of don't really do anything. He does have that Godzilla T-Rex presence. It's just, it is very 80s, and it seems very 80s to look at. Like, as soon as he does anything but look down or straight ahead, the illusion is broken, as you can kind of see the Headmaster or Titan Master just dangling there, waiting to fall out of his jaw. Put together into any group shot, and these guys do look very good with each other. I especially appreciate the details, making it look like the jawline is just covered in blood. It kind of adds to the tone of the guy and kind of makes him more threatening. I love the little eye holes that don't really show the Titan Master underneath, but it's a nice touch. It gives it a little bit of depth of darkness where his eyes should be. Again, I've said how the jet mode is just here as his tail, and you can kind of tell where the robot mode is gonna be and what goes where, but I think he pulls this off quite well, better than some of his contemporaries in triple changes. It works on a mechanical level, and it kind of adds to the horror that this thing could turn into a jet and just fly off. It adds that air of uncertainty, I feel, and that's what you kind of want from something this horrific. You want to be uncertain of what it's going to do next. Now, while I do love Apeface and all his battered glory, this is one instance where battle damage works kind of in its favor. You want him to look messy, you want him to look grimy, you want him to look animalistic, and I think that the battle damage does add a quality like that. It's just the white plastic they used kind of brings it down a level. Also, with the rather difficultness of getting all these panels and flaps in correctly for Beast Mode, I don't know anyone that can do this and enjoy it. This is not a good transformation, and it's kind of annoying. So that's my one gripe with Apeface in this mode. But Toy Scourge, I hear you cry. Wasn't there another version of Apeface? I swear we had him in Titan's Return. Well, we did, only in miniature form. And while this is a good little homage and does a really good job in a simplified way, it's just not what we was hoping for Apeface. When Siege was announced and we heard we were going to get an Apeface, I at least was exceedingly happy because I knew that it had to be better than this. And while this is just a Titan Master, and a ruddy good one too, because he actually does an equal great job of being Apeface's head. It gives you more variety in playing value because you've got two heads. You can pick and choose and swap at your leisure, and that is really horrific because choice is good. Really, the gun mode on this is nothing more than just putting his arms out, pretending that the thrusters are gun barrels, and flipping down this little thing here, which doesn't really lock into place, but doesn't really go anywhere either. So, gun mode, I can't really see it. I mean, I can see his head, and that kind of breaks the illusion for me, but imagination? What works super well is the rather sleek jet mode, which does kind of break in the middle just for the fact that you need a place for the Titan Master to sit, but it's rather a nice sleek little jet mode, and something that I don't really have any fuss or complain about, as this is just like core class figure. You weren't really going to get anything amazing, but it's nice that they added this little thing into the line, probably knowing full well we were going to get an actual Apeface figure down the line, and maybe this was pre-planned like that, who knows, but it's a nice addition. Before we look at jet modes, let's have a look at the Titan Masters, Spasma and Crunk respectively, and these guys have had a bit more thought put into them. They serve as two functions, well, three also. Not only as the head, but the head of the beast mode or attachments to it. You'll notice that on the back is the eyes for the beast mode, and then the head for robot mode on the feet, rather than normally it being on the back. So while he does have a smaller faceplate, the head is still the same size, and these guys are way more interesting than just regular Titan Masters in my opinion. They're painted better, they're presented better, they have more function, and they feel like they've got more personality, especially in head mode, just for the fact that they carry more clout. They feel bigger, they feel beefier, they feel more dangerous than the other three combined. That being Werewolf, Mindwipe, and Skullcruncher. So I really love these guys, and it's just a personal preference, but the color schemes are so sickly late 80s, early 90s that they might as well have incorporated them into G2 because they kind of just fit. See, faceplates for me normally detract from facial expressions as it is masking everything. But the thing is, Soundwave carries so much expression, so much threatening presence that really a faceplate seems worse than actually seeing the mouth. I mean, how stoic is Optimus Prime, yet we don't see his mouth for the most part. So really, these guys, they feel like they mean business and they're gonna kick ass and take names in a horrible way. Again, comparing the Titan's Return to the Siege head of Apeface, they both carry very different looks, but they still seem to convey the same overall threatening presence. Whereas the red eyes for the Siege Apeface are very bright and colourful and kind of can't miss them. The dead, dull blackness of the Titan's Return eyes just add a sense of that he does not care, so he's not going to care when he rips you a new one. The jet mode on Apeface, I think, is the weakest mode, as it's basically, well, they both are, just the ape mode laying down with the jet accoutrement attached. And while I don't want to put the added jet piece on too tightly, as you will notice on this side that it snapped up when I tried to remove it for the very first time. So that has been a thing. Apeface, as much as I love him, does carry a number of issues with him, like the shading of the plastic, which I will admit is nicely detailed out with some really, really good sculpting. But just the overall color scheme is sickly. But was that the point? Again, people won't like the battle damage, but I think it actually adds to this figure in a way. It's dirty, it's disgusting. In his original bio, he is an animalistic slob, so he's not going to look clean, he's not going to look tidy, and he's definitely not going to look perfect. So yeah, jet mode's a bit of a brick, but it's a nice brick. It's a brick with nice bits attached. So while I really can't believe this flies around space with the greatest of ease, I do believe it can fly. Snapdragon's a little jet mode, on the other hand, I really do believe is a lot more sleek, a lot more streamlined, and just everything you want from a 1980s toy reimagined in the 2000s, because this looks friggin' good. And I especially love the two-part open up pop, if I can actually get it, if I can get it. We got it, we did it. I love how this pops open to reveal the same kind of teal coloring console controls, just where the Titan Master can sit and do his evil deeds and whatever. It's kind of weird having a faux cockpit at the very front of it, but I don't really mind. It kind of adds to the aesthetic of it, where it'd be weird if it was just one little slice of luminescent yellow plastic. It helps blend all this together in a kind of grey weirdness with just enough teal and purple decked out that it can be its own thing. Again, with the great sculpting detail running throughout and kind of good symmetrical lines where nothing's really broken unless you move a wing. It kind of works. I mean, the only thing I've got to say is you've got the robot mode torso just hanging out on a block right back here, but again, it's doing three things and it's trying to do them equally as well as the other. So maybe some slack for triple changes needs to be applied in the future, even with Blitzwing, I will say that. But can we just appreciate for what these guys are, of really thoughtful reimaginings of two horrifically horrible characters? So of course we were going to look at the robot modes last, because why not? But first, let's look at a couple of things that come with these guys, starting with Snapdragon's twin purple guns, which do have the little nib full blast effects, but really they're cast in purple plastic and they're just your regular 80s purple guns. I do, however, appreciate they're the same both sides, where there's no gimmick attached. It's just his guns, his alone, and he doesn't need anything like that. It just adds to the fear that this guy doesn't need any added extras bundled onto his weapons. All he needs are these, and you are in danger. Next, again, for Apeface, is his shield. For it being quite brittle feeling and already snapped off on my copy, but managed to glue that back on, it's just an added extra that's not really needed. I'm pretty sure this could have been folded up again on his back, because as you will see, he's got enough crap smothered on his back that one little extra piece would not have made any difference. But it's molded nicely, I can say that at least, can't I? Starting off with Snapdragon here, I've got to say the color scheme is really good. I like the matte purple molding on his chest. That is a really good thing, and it kind of blends well with the shinier plastic used further down. And yeah, you do get bits of animal mode and jet mode kind of peeking through the underside, but really all of that is kind of pushed to the back, so all you really get is the grey, black and purple, which, as you can see, matches a really good color scheme. Setting these side these guys from the other three, it really does make them seem more like a duo rather than a quartet, really, because these guys were more animalistic, especially in their bios in the 80s, and it just adds to the fact that their color scheming together really does make them a kind of a duo to be messed with, a kind of slaughter happy Laurel and Hardy, if you will. So I'm liking the plastic, I'm liking the colors, I'm liking the distribution of them, and I'm loving the matte and the shiny mixed together. It kind of brings everything together in a Snapdragon-esque kind of way that only someone as crazy and as deluded and bloodthirsty as him can really pull off. Now, Apeface, much in the same vein, does have that matte and shiny running throughout, which again helps with the duality of these two's nature and just looking good next to each other on a shelf. It does look horrific, especially as, again, the battle damage is continued on into this mold. And again, with all of the excess colors that go onto the Ape and Jet mode pushed to the back, and the forefront is just those rich blacks, purples, and kind of muted grays. And again, with the molding, it's kind of lost in this disgusting, horrible plastic color, but it's what you want. It's a Horicon. It's not supposed to look nice and shiny and deep, much like the Diaclone colors have given us, or creamy and soft and smooth, or gold like Goldbug. It's meant to look disgusting and horrible and worn down, more mechanical and animalistic mixed, a kind of what we were going to get in the future with the Predacons of Beast Wars. So really, you can gripe at these all you like for all the nitpicks of how to transform them and all the excess kibble on the back and, oh god, yeah, well, he wears his jet mode as a backpack. Oh, well, who cares, really? It does its function well, and there's some great engineering in both of these guys. So, really, I've got to say, respect the Horicons. They're a mean, horrible purple and black duo that really bring it to the forefront of Titan Masters or Headmasters technology. And yeah, there might be better variations down the line of these guys, but for now, I'm just thankful that we have these guys in our lives looking as horrible as they do. And really, ghouls and boos, is that really all you came to see? Two horrific Horicons and a little video review on the internet? I believe it is. So while the witching hour approaches fast for this Halloween, marking its end, all I can leave you with is the horror of the Horicons. Sleep well. Or at least, try to. So that was a little bit of fun. Happy Halloween, everyone. Thank you for watching. If you like the video. If you want to see more toy-related content, no matter how silly it is in the future, subscribe for more. And yeah, I think that about wraps up a very silly episode. So have a good day. Don't eat too much candy. So I will simply leave you now with a message of have a very happy Halloween and have a very devilishly good time in anything you do within reason of Halloween.